to start the class. And today I just want us to go through the assignment together, even though it's my belief that you guys have taken your time to review it, because I'm not here to police anyone, and it's good you attempt first, so that when I'll be demonstrating in class, you should be able to grasp on areas maybe that you are missing out. But nonetheless, my goal is to ensure that you guys are getting the drill. So assignment 2, you need to have 2 files. So we have the Excel file. I think I should start with assignment 1. Let's start with assignment 1 before we go to the second assignment. And the same drill with the assignment 1, you have both the Excel file and also the PDF. So the PDF contains the questions, and then the Excel file is now the data set that you'll use for your analysis. The software is SPSS. You'll be doing your analysis using SPSS. I hope you are in a position to see my screen. And in case you'll have any question along the way, feel free to communicate. So let's understand first the content of the data. And if you look at the data set 1, it has 2 worksheets. There's a worksheet that contains the data, and there's a worksheet that contains the code book. What is a code book? I said code book is a brief description of your variables or what your data is all about. As you can see here, they've said the first variable is ID, which is participant ID number. Of course, you're not going to assign any values to it. The second variable is age, and they've said this is age in years, and it is actual age of the participant or the respondent. So what it means here is this is a continuous variable. If you look at language, you have English and Spanish, and of course you're getting the drill for all the variables up to smoke status. Now, what's the first step? The first step is to import the Excel file into SPSS. And to do that, just go to File, Open, Data, File, Open, Data, and you need to adjust on the file type. And we recommend you use all file, which basically means you want to see all the files that are in that folder, not just SPSS file. So I'll change the file type to all file. And if I go now to my desktop, so you need to know the location of where your files are. If I go to my desktop, I'll have SPSS and then assignments. And now I can be able to see all the files in that folder called SPSS. So we're importing assignment 1. I'll select assignment 1 and then click on Open. Now I need to select the worksheet that contain the dataset. And if you check here, I can be able to see both the dataset worksheet and also the codebook worksheet. These are the worksheets that I'm talking about, the dataset worksheet and the codebook worksheet. So the goal here is I want to analyze the dataset. So I'll select the dataset worksheet. And if I click OK, you can see that now I have my dataset uploaded in SPSS. The next step is to go to variable view, and I will now label my work. So I'll copy description of ID, which it says participant ID number. So just copy that and paste on label. On age, I'll do the same. Age in years. Language, same drill. Same applies to fracture. So I think it's much easier when you just copy paste. I also have ability. On values, now only the only the categorical variables are the ones which you are supposed to assign values to the groupings that are there. So in this case, they've said for language, the provisions that are there, you can either have one, so one is for English and two is Spanish. So I'll go under values for language, and I'll say one is English. I'll have it in caps. So one denotes the category English, or those participants who preferred English as the language, and then two is for Spanish. They have also said for fracture, either somebody had fracture or not. So one is yes, zero is no. Let's say one is yes, somebody had fracture, and zero means no, somebody didn't have fracture. Let me know in case my audio is not that okay. You know the drill. On number of meds, I've said number of meds is total number of meds. So you expect this one to be a continuous. So you're not going to assign any values to it. I think I go to the ability, and one is can do with some difficulty. So one in can do. Cannot do without help. I will add and click OK. Lastly, for smoke status, they said one is a non-smoker and two is a smoker. So one is a non-smoker, then two is smoker. So I think up to this point now, I've already sorted out my database, and I now know what variables I'm handling and what are the values assigned to each of the groupings that are there. So I'll go straight to the question, and the first question is on, you need to identify and list categorical. It says identify and list categoricals and continuous variable. So I can have there as one categoricals And for categorical variables, I have all the groupings. So smoke status, ability, fracture, and language. Those are categorical. So I'll start with language. The language we have fracture, ability, and lastly smoke status. On continuous variable, I think it's now easier. The remaining variables are now continuous. So I can say age and the number of meds are now continuous. For ID, you know that ID is a metadata. So we're not going to analyze ID. I'll say age and number of meds that somebody was able to take, number of meds. It was as simple as that, as far as question 1 is concerned. On question 2, they've said calculate the frequencies and percentages for all the categorical variables and means and standard deviation for the continuous variable. So the drill here is, I just want to know if now that you can be able to identify a categorical and a continuous, now do you know the descriptive statistics of the same? So we said for continuous variable, the type of descriptive analysis that you will do, for continuous, you say you extract measure of central tendency, and for categoricals, you do frequencies. And it was simple because in this assignment, you've already been guided on what to do. So if I go to my SPSS, analyze, so we'll start with categoricals, we extract frequencies, let's say descriptive statistics, and then frequencies. Analyze descriptive statistics, and then frequency. I will right click so that I display variable names. And the first variable I will have, of course, smoke status is a categorical. We talked about language, ability, and then fracture. If you want to have charts, you can go to the chart section and maybe select a bar chart. And here you get to choose, do you want to have frequencies in your bar chart or percentages? I'll click on percentages, continue, and then OK. I have the frequency tables with me there, and I also have the column graphs of the same. But I don't like the way, of course, with visualization, we can draw a better graph. So how do we transfer these details from here to drawing some graph on our own? So one, we will take the frequency table, and I'll start with smoke status. If I copy, I can come to my Word document and paste. I will do the same for ability. And then lastly, fracture. Now, if you want to do drawings, you can always save your SPSS output as a PDF, and then now, sorry, as an Excel, and you can now proceed and do the drawings. So let's do that. So in an event that maybe you want to have charts on your report, the best way to go about that is just save your output by exporting it as an Excel. So go to File, Export, and under File Type, select Excel. Browse so that you have analysis in your desktop. So let's just call it Analysis Assignment 1. So just to clarify, I want to save an Excel file which comprises of these frequency tables, and now based on those frequency tables, I can be able to draw some charts, and then these charts are the ones which I'll now take it to my report. So I'll select desktop and then save, then OK. And if I go to my desktop, I should be having an Excel file called analysis. So I have it here. And once I open it, now I have my frequency table. So for if I'm starting with preferred language, I'll just select English, Spanish, together with their frequencies. If I go to insert, I would prefer to draw a pie chart. And again, the choice of your preferred chart matters, because you should know when to draw a pie chart and when to do a column graph. I think most of charting you will do now during Advanced Excel. When you're creating dashboards in Advanced Excel, you should be knowing how to come up with charts. So I'll name this chart as preferred language. And I don't want to focus more on drawings, just so you know how the drill goes. Nice chart, and then go to my Word document. Description now is just saying there are more, majority of your respondent preferred language, preferred Spanish as their language. Sorry, majority of your respondent recorded that they preferred Spanish as their preferred language, and this stands at 56%. So 56% of your respondents were mentioning Spanish, while 44% were of the preference English. I hope you're getting the drill. So let's go back to the assignment. So we've managed to do frequency table for categorical variables. For continuous variable, we do measures of central tendency. So analyze, descriptive statistics, and then descriptive. The variable is age and also number of meds. If I go ahead and click OK, I can see that on average, my participants are around 74, 75 years old, and on average they take around 3 tablets in a day, or 3 number of meds in a day. So you can go ahead and now talk about standard deviation, maximum, minimum, and so forth. So I'm sure by now you should not be having any challenges with interpretation. So if you recall very well, we said develop the ability to communicate in English. Don't use statistical terms like mean. Instead of calling the mean, you can use average. Instead of saying maximum, you can use the word highest. For minimum, I would prefer you use the lowest. The next question is question 3, which says what? Run an independent sample t-test to compare two groups of people specified by a dichotomous variable on one continuous variable using 0.05 level of significance. Test the appropriate hypothesis. That is not all. They're also saying write the null and alternative hypothesis. So here they're saying they're not tying you to any of the categorical or continuous, so you have a blank check, but at least they want you to demonstrate that you can perform an independent sample t-test. So when do you do independent sample t-test? We said you do t-test when you are comparing or checking relationship between a continuous variable and a categorical variable. In this case, of course, they have not tied me to anyone. So I might want to check, is there a significant difference in smoke status based on the age? Okay. So I want to check what's the relation between somebody's smoke status and their age. And in terms of null hypothesis, I've said I need to set my, so they've said what, write down the null and alternative hypothesis. So my null hypothesis would be there is, so let me just make it short. So I can say there's no significant mean difference. There is no significant mean difference. There is no significant mean difference of what? In age. So I'm opting to use variable age. I can say there is no significant mean difference in age between smokers and non-smokers. And then alternative will be there is a significant mean difference between now smokers and non-smokers. Now, with independent sample t-tests, of course, our goal is just to either reject or fail to reject. And what matters is the p-value and alpha value. So they've already told you that you're doing your study at, they're saying using as 0.05 level of significance. So there, you know, this is now your alpha value. That means you're doing your study at 95% confidence level. Now let's go straight to independent sample t-test. And with the analysis, you can just go to analyze, compare means, independent sample t-test. I will have age as the test variable, smoke status as the group variable. How have I coded smoke status? If I go to define groups, I'll say 1 is the value used for someone who's a smoker, and 0 was the value used for a non-smoker. I will click continue and then OK. Okay, I don't know what I'm missing out. Let me just confirm on the values. So I think the value is 1 and 2, not 1 and 0. So I can do that again. Analyze, compare means, independent sample t-test. And when I define groups, I will say 1 and 2, not 1 and 0. Continue and then OK. And I have my results. So they're saying on average, non-smokers. So first we have more non-smokers compared to smokers. So we have 42 of them, and smokers are only 24. But on average, the age of a non-smoker is 73, and a smoker is 77. So what would you say? More older people tend not to smoke compared to young people. That's how you want to view it. But at least the average age for smokers is higher than that of non-smokers. So older folks tend to smoke more. Second table, of course, we said we will use the equal variance assumed. And what we are looking for here, significance of truth. What happens? The rule of thumb said in an event that your p-value is less than alpha, then that is when you reject your null hypothesis. So in this case, 0.02. So you can say, one, the alpha value is 0.005. And then p-value 0. This says there is no significant mean difference in age between smokers and non-smokers. I will go for the alternative, which says there is a significant mean difference between smokers and non-smokers. And what that means is this age difference of course, the age difference is provided here. So the age difference, which is 3, a difference of 3 years, so 70. If you write the null and hypothesis, I think you have done that, and then test the appropriate hypothesis. So I think that's all you are supposed to do. On question 4, what is the calculated mean for each group? So for the first group, we have 73. For the second one, we have 77. So the means for each of the groups are there. On the next question, which is what is the critical t value? So the critical t is, of course, you said you follow the equal variance assumed.